sewing friends, it's collaboration time again. I'm collaborating with Karina from Lifting Pins and Needles, and we're going to show you our wonderful new moto jackets. From Dorothy's Daughter. Welcome to my channel. I just like to say a quick hello to everyone and thank you to my brand new subscribers. The numbers are going up like crazy right now and I couldn't be more excited. Thank you so much. If you're not subscribed yet, go ahead and click that button down there and also the little bell, and you'll be notified every time I post a new video. You know, sewing can be kind of a lonely hobby sometimes. And the one way to beat that is to just become active in the online sewing community. And sometimes you find out that the people that you meet are right around the corner. So I want to say a special hello to Kathy, who reached out to me, and she actually lives about 10 miles from me. So that's pretty exciting, and I look forward to getting to meet her in person and spending some time with her. It's wonderful how the internet brings people together. And on that note, I have met a very special friend throughout my sewing vlogging journeys, and that is Karina from Lifting Pins and Needles. She has been such a friend to me. I didn't know a whole lot about vlogging when I started this. You can look back at my first videos and you can see how really awful they were. But Karina has been just a true friend and has coached me and helped me, and we've just gotten to be really great friends. And I was excited about this new release from Seamwork, and she was too, and we decided that we would both release our videos on the same day and collaborate on it. So I will have her video linked below, so be sure and see her video as well. Her video is going to feature her usual up close and personal. She's doing more of the sew along type video stuff, which I sometimes do, but since she's doing that, I didn't want to reinvent the wheel. So I'm going to give you some tips on working with faux leather. Because that is what I chose for my jacket. So what you'll see is two very different body types, two very different types of fabric, and the same pattern. So I think it's really cool to see what can be done with the same pattern in different fabrics. So every month, Seamwork releases 2 new patterns. And if you're not a member of Seamwork, I encourage you to check it out. I do have an affiliate link down below. If you use that link to sign up, you'll get $3 off your first month, and it'll help support my channel. So they release 2 new patterns a month. And I'm always excited to see what they're going to be. I'm always stalking their announcements in the community forum on there because they announce them a little early to members. And every month I look and see if it's something I'm going to be really excited about making. Well, when I saw this jacket pattern, I was literally laying in bed on my iPad and I squealed. My husband just was like, "What is wrong with you?" And I'm like, "I just love this jacket." He just kind of harumphed and rolled over because he knows me and he knows I get excited about silly little things like sewing patterns. But anyway, I was very excited to make this pattern. So I purchased some Ponte that was one of the suggested fabrics, and I loved that Ponte, but the more I thought about it, the more I just didn't like that particular Ponte. Was not real thick. The more I thought about it and how the jacket might lay, the more I thought, no, maybe not. But I was going to go ahead with it anyway, and because our collaboration was coming up and I really hadn't thought about anything else. Well, I was walking through Hobby Lobby and I caught this faux leather, caught my eye. And I went over and I felt it, and it's soft as can be. It's suede kind of, but in a pebbly sort of way. And I thought, well, I can't use this. It's not stretch. Well, I picked it up, and sure enough, it is a stretch pleather. So I was very excited to be able to use that for this jacket. and it made the world of difference in how I feel about this project, believe me. So anyway, I love this pleather. Is amazing feeling. If you've got a Hobby Lobby near you, they had two colors. I think it was a deep green and this sort of wine color. So they probably all carry the same fabric. So if you're interested, with my coupon, I think I ended up paying $20 for the whole amount that I needed, which is pretty good. So first, let me just talk about the pattern. This pattern went together so much more quickly than I thought. This pattern comes in sizes 0 to 26, and so it's very inclusive of sizes. I normally with Seamwork will make a size 18 and do a narrow shoulder adjustment. Well, this time I made the 18, but I did not do the narrow shoulder adjustment. And the reason I didn't do that is because I knew I would be wearing this over sweaters and with scarves and things. So I thought maybe some extra room up here wouldn't be a bad thing. And also, you know, you can just open these flaps more if you need to. So I just decided that I wouldn't do the narrow shoulder adjustment. And it turns out that that was a pretty good decision. I have it on just over a tank top to show you today. But I had this on when I took some photos, which I'm going to show you. I had it on over a sweater with a scarf, and I had plenty of room. And that's how you usually would wear a garment like this. The pattern went together beautifully. It's drafted very well. The zipper insertion was very easy, especially since there's two sides to it. You can put one side in at a time. And it's very important, though, that you line up the bottom and make sure that's lined up when you do that. But it's very simple. Zipper insertion. The whole thing went together in an evening, which is crazy for a jacket like this. The snaps I got from Amazon. I bought like a multi-pack of different types of snaps. I didn't put the other side of the snaps on because these are mostly decorative, so I just put them here on the lapel. So the fit and construction of this pattern were awesome. The only thing I changed was I did shorten the sleeves some because I have short arms. I did not need to do my usual full bicep adjustment. I did not do any other adjustments. It's a straight Seamwork size 18. And if I were not going to be wearing it over sweaters, I think I would have needed to size down. So that's just a heads up. If you don't think that you're going to wear it over heavy sweaters or wear it as outerwear, then I would suggest maybe sizing down a little bit. The fabric is soft and luxe and wonderful. And the lining is like a tricot stretch that's sort of bonded on there. It's very warm. I think it would be great for outerwear. I will be wearing this jacket as outerwear quite a bit. I think it'll be the perfect little jacket to have along with me on my trip to Texas. It doesn't necessarily get real cold in San Antonio, but sometimes it does, and sometimes it's jacket and sweater weather, and this will be the perfect thing to have with me. So what I want to do is to share some tips for working with this faux leather. So faux leather comes in a lot of different shapes and sizes, and you can use it on jackets, on bags, on upholstery projects. I mean, it just runs the gamut. So I'm going to give you some tips for how to manage that at your sewing machine. All right, tip number 1 is to check the backing and the backing of the fabric and see if it will work with your project. So this one, like I said, has like a tricot lining, and that was perfect for this. My arms slide in when I put my arms in, so there's nothing rough or anything that kind of impedes that. It does not need to be lined, which is great. The other thing that you want to check when it comes to the backing of the leather, is it stretch or woven? Yes, but also the weight of it. Is it too thin for a jacket? Some of it can be really, really thin. This is kind of a medium weight. There's some that's very thick and wouldn't be appropriate for anything but upholstery. So you just want to kind of see, what's it backed with? Is it stretchy? Is it the right weight for what I'm making? Tip number 2, you want to test some scraps for pressing. A common thing is to think that you cannot press this. And largely, it's better to avoid it when you can. But I did press this a little bit on the wrong side. I was able to press it. And since it is not a super sticky, shiny pleather, I was able, with a Teflon sheet, to be able to press with a very light iron on this. But you want to test that out carefully. I use the Teflon sheet that I use in my heat press when I apply vinyl. So that's a nice thing to have in your arsenal if you have fabric like this and you do want to iron it. Very, very, very light iron, and definitely test it first. Tip number 3, use a rotary cutter to cut it. I just recently found this one. I was always big on OFA rotary cutters until I purchased this one. The reason I purchased it is because even when the blade is on, it does not come down and cut unless you press it. So I wanted to sew with my grandchildren. I thought this would be a much safer thing to have around them. But it turns out this is the best rotary cutter. I mean, it goes through anything, and it has 2 settings, one for light and one for heavy fabrics. And of course I used the heavy fabric setting, and it just sailed right through this pleather. So this is the Kai rotary cutter, and I'll put a link to this one, an affiliate link from Amazon, down below. The other thing is start with a new needle. No matter what you were doing prior to this project, I would just start off fresh with a new needle. Pleather is very dependent on having the right needle. You need a size 14 or 16 needle, and if you cannot find a leather needle specifically, you can use a jeans needle, which is what I used because I didn't happen to have a leather needle at the moment. But you can purchase leather needles, and of course that would be the best thing to use on it. And always, always use a brand new needle. You may even find that you have to change it midway in the project, depending on the thickness of the leather and how well it's behaving for you. Another thing is to use a longer stitch length than necessary, 3 or more. It's always going to seem shorter than it would with fabric, with pleather. I used about a 3.5 for the seams, and for the top stitching I used a 4. So it just depends on your machine, but you can kind of test it out and kind of see what works best for your machine. But definitely, if you use a really short stitch length, what you're going to find is it'll perforate the leather and then it'll tear, especially some of the more vinylish ones. This one was not so much terrible, but there are a lot of them that would tear if you perforate it by short stitches. Another thing you want to do is you want to use a Teflon foot, and this is a white foot, looks like this. This is a Janome one, and they have them for every model. This keeps the pleather from sticking to your foot, and is a must with this kind of fabric. If you don't have that foot, you can try also the roller foot, which is my wonderful alternative to a walking foot, but it'll basically help push the leather through and keep it from sticking. However, I get better results with the Teflon foot. So, but either one of these in theory should work. If you are still having difficulty, you can put some tissue paper either on top or underneath. A little tricky to pull out the little bits of paper afterwards. So be careful using too much of it, especially with top stitching. If you want a nice clean rip from the top stitching and you want to put something over it, there is a Tearaway stabilizer that you can purchase. I think it's Pellon. I will find out the name of it and I will put it underneath me here when I edit this video. I've forgotten, I don't know if it's Tearaway, something like that, but anyway, there is one. And what you can do, and I've done before with top stitching, things like this, I didn't need to do it with this jacket, but I have done like bags and things where I needed to do some top stitching on the leather. I wasn't having great results and I needed to put something on top of it, and I used this Tearaway Stabilizer, and then I cut it into strips so that you can just, you know, put it on the seam line, and it goes pretty far when you do that. Rather than use a whole big piece of it, just cut it into small strips so that it's right under your seam line. And if you find that you can't press the pleather that you've purchased at all, you can use a leather tape or glue to glue your seams open if you need to. They do sell a leather tape, and that works beautifully for projects that you cannot press. Another thing is to not use pins. If you put pins in your faux leather, any hole you put in it is going to be there forever. So don't pin your seams together. Instead, I use Wonder Clips. I think these are made by Clover, and I bought them by the little box. But I think you can buy them on a card or something as well. But they're just small little clips that you can use to hold seams together. The next thing that I would recommend is to have a hump jumper. I spoke to you about this when I did my jeans. Now this comes in handy when you're coming up against a seam and your presser foot is like this and it can't go any further. So what you do is you put this underneath the presser foot behind it, and it levels it out so that it can keep sewing. So very important. They come in different shapes and sizes. This one is actually called a Gina Majig. Here's another type, and this one was actually called a Hump Jumper. So definitely use one of those two things. Have them handy in case you run up against that problem, because anytime you're sewing something a little thicker, you may have to do that. So those are my tips on sewing with faux leather, and I hope that helps you. Like I said, this fabric, I just purchased it at Hobby Lobby like 3 days ago. So if you like it, you probably would still be able to get it. Use your 40% coupon. It was not on sale. With my 40% discount, what I needed to purchase for this project was only $20. So not bad for a nice moto jacket that I can wear around. I can wear it with an outfit. I can wear it as outerwear. I love this jacket so much. I can't wait, honestly, to wear it outside. It's a little warm yesterday and today. I did put it on to take pictures yesterday, but I really would like it to get colder so that I can actually wear this jacket. So next week is going to be special as well. I am going to be hosting the Great Cardigan Wrap-Up. I will be sharing with you 3 or 4 cardigan patterns that I have made. And to bring you more value to your video watching, I'm going to link videos by other sewing vloggers that have reviewed cardigans so that you can get a real feel for the cardigan patterns that are out there. I have heard back from at least 3 or 4 different vloggers who would like to participate. And what I would like to do, if you are a sewing vlogger and you would like to just submit your link on a review, it doesn't have to be that week. It can be any time this season that you've reviewed a cardigan. Please submit that to me and I will include it in the list. And then I'm just asking the people on the list to share the graphic somewhere so that people know about it. And I think it would be a great opportunity for you guys to kind of see what patterns are out there and what might suit you. So yeah, it's something new I'm trying. I hope it'll go over well. And don't forget to go watch Karina's, unless you already have. Watch it again. That's okay. She has done an amazing jacket. Hers is completely different from mine. I don't know anybody who's more creative in sewing than Karina. So her videos are always a treat. There's always a twist, and this one does not disappoint. She is using a completely different fabric, and I think you'll enjoy it. So have a wonderful day. And again, thank you to my new subscribers, and blessings to your day. Happy sewing.